Alright, you knew we had to do it. You knew we had to make this video. If anybody goes out there and talks about the Toronto media in the way this guy does, we gotta do it. It's an automatic video. It's a thing. It's a topic. Everybody is talking about this guy now because of the spice, the absolute heat that he laid out there onto the microphone after winning his third Stanley Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the NHL's Iron Man, the one who started it all with 1,000 straight games played in the regular season, and three-time Stanley Cup champion, as we had said, Phil Kessel. Now, I know there are going to be the naysayers. Wait a minute, Kessel didn't play a single game in the finals. He was scratched for most of the entire run. And yeah, while that's technically the case, Phil Kessel is still a guy whose legacy in the NHL transcends that of just games played, points, and Stanley Cups. This is a guy who, for a moment in time on the Toronto Maple Leafs, was the best player on the team, and whose reputation, whose perception in the media and the fans was all over the place. That now, seeing where he is, going from Toronto to Pittsburgh to Vegas, I guess you could say Arizona was in there too. With all this stuff that Phil Kessel has gone through, it's just fun seeing him go out there, winning championships, getting games played, and being the player that he is. Let's get on to the reason we're making this video, though, because Phil Kessel had himself a Vegas Golden Knights stint with 82 games, so there you go, he got the Iron Man streak kept up and alive with this season. 14 goals, 22 assists, 36 total points, so definitely not the 90-point season he had with the Penguins back in 17-18, and it's even not the 52-point season that he had last season with the Arizona Coyotes, but either way, Kessel was more so of a depth forward on this Vegas team. He was a pretty alright one at that, and in the postseason, he played 4 games, he had 2 points, so definitely not a bad number. It's just he wasn't used towards the end. He didn't play in the finals, he didn't play in the third round, he didn't play in the second round. But Phil Kessel, because he had that 82-game stint in the regular season, will get his name on the Stanley Cup because he does fulfill the requirements, and as a result, he is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. Now, the reason we're making this video is because of the comment he made after the Stanley Cup was awarded. This takes me back to my Toronto days. You guys said I couldn't win, and now I'm a 3-time champ. Remember that. And you know what? Oh my gosh, man, Phil the Thrill is going out there starting a war because this is a guy who has dealt with so much tribulation in Toronto, the media, the fans, the pressure, the lack of winning, the first round exits, it was all there in Maple Leafs town. And ever since then, he gets traded to Pittsburgh, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, goes over to Arizona, comes over to Vegas, 3-time champion. After all the crap that Phil Kessel dealt with as the best player on the Maple Leafs for 8 years, where he was labeled as fat, he was lazy, he was not a team player, uncoachable, all this crap that the media was throwing at him constantly, left, right, and center. Some of the fans were throwing it too, but not all the fans, I would say. A lot of fans, I think, understood the pressure and the unrealistic standards that Phil Kessel was sort of held to back when he was in Toronto, but this was a guy who dealt with it all. And with all the memes about him liking hot dogs and having bad conditioning and all this, it's cathartic in a way. For anybody who is not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, or heck, even the Maple Leafs fans themselves, it's cathartic to see Phil do as well as he has been doing. In fact, there was an article published on Sportsnet. This was from, when was this? June 12th, so before the Stanley Cup was even awarded. This was published by Luke Fox, talking about how healthy scratch Phil Kessel is bringing joy to Vegas's Stanley Cup run. And you can see some of the comments here made by Jack Eichel, for example, talking about the card games that he plays with Kessel, McNabb, and Marchessault. They've been great, it's entertaining every flight, I don't have to worry about having to download TV or anything. This article says that Phil Kessel has been a natural positive influence on the club's culture despite heading towards an 18th consecutive healthy scratch on Tuesday night. It's huge. I mean, a big part of the team chemistry this year. He's been great to hang out with, Marchessault says. But you need a lot of character on your team. He's definitely one of them, and definitely I enjoy every second of being with him, for sure. The way he speaks, it's remarkable. This is what Mark Stone said about Phil Kessel and his personality. I don't know. He brings a funny element of happiness and crankiness. He just gels really well with this group. He's probably one of, if not the most likable teammates I've ever played with. He brings a smile to your face when you come into the rink every day. You can count on Kessel to bring in good vibes to the dressing room, and he's been one of my favorite teammates I've ever played with. He plays every night, right? He's always there. The article then goes out there and says that once Bruce Cassidy had a full complement of healthy forwards, the coach deemed Kessel an imperfect fit for the bottom six that he trusts to be diligent defensively and physical on the forecheck. And realistically, that's not a bad reason to keep a guy like Phil Kessel out of the lineup. He's not really the most hard-working, defensively minded, back-checking type forward out there, and I mean, considering the fact that the Golden Knights won the Cup, I'd say that their strategy to keep Kessel out was a pretty good one. But the guy already put in the brunt work in the regular season. 82 games played, he has got his name on the Cup, he's a 3-time champion, and he's taking shots at Toronto in the process. As a result, you have some really funny discourse going out there, like this tweet that went viral from, oh boy, Marlander Thews. Yeah, I had to reread that a few times. I don't care that he didn't play in the finals. Phil Kessel defeated 2 types of cancer, testicular and Steve Simmons, and proceeded to win 3 Stanley Cups. Put him in the Hall of Fame. This tweet had 200,000 views, 3,000 likes, a whole bunch of replies, and everybody was talking about this on my Twitter feed. Of course, we know that Phil Kessel is a cancer survivor, not, you know, Steve Simmons, but like actual cancer, and Steve Simmons just kind of, being the reporter that he is in Toronto, has this reputation that people are making fun of him for, that this tweet, of course, it's obviously a meme, like I'm not going to go out there and say that Steve Simmons is cancer of all people, but it is funny. And this did go viral, so I was like, yeah, I kind of want to include that here in the video. There also has been an ongoing debate I've seen as to whether or not Phil Kessel should be in the Hall of Fame, despite the lack of individual achievements except for the Ironman streak, the 190-point season that he had, and the 1,060-something straight regular season games played. Personally, if you were to ask me, I'd say that Phil Kessel at his peak may not have been the talent that was worthy of getting in there, but the Ironman streak really does help him out, plus that 3-time Stanley Cup championship medal. I'd say that he probably does find his way into the Hall some way or another over the next few years. You gotta get the guy who has the most consecutive games played in there somehow, right? And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that Keith Yandel deserves it anytime soon, but for Phil Kessel, 3 Stanley Cups, the legacy he had, the impact he had in Toronto, cancer survivor, 3-time champion, I think he does deserve to get in there, at least at some point. But either way, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about Phil Kessel going out there and throwing shade at the Toronto Maple Leafs? No, not the Maple Leafs themselves. The media. Yes, the media. The guy's going out there saying that he wouldn't amount to anything, and now he is a 3-time champion. He's going to go out there and prove all the haters wrong till the day he retires, because man, oh man, he's Phil Kessel, everybody. He's Phil Kessel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about him talking back to the media in Toronto? What are your thoughts about him winning the Stanley Cup? Do you think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.